Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal, back for another live stream, and today is actually deadline day. Yep, today is actually deadline day for the transfer window. They are closing it today and then reopening it again in 6 days time. I'm not sure why they did that, but they have their rules, FIFA and UEFA and all that. But yeah, today is actually a deadline day. We've never had a deadline day in June, but we have some news on Benjamin Sesko. As always, some updates on him, updates on Zubimendi. Zubimendi is already a done deal. We've already gotten updates on that as well. And also Guehi, that is a name that has come up today, the Crystal Palace defender. We'll be talking about him, and then a final update on Marquinhos, a player who never really worked out at Arsenal, but is finally leaving and going elsewhere. So without wasting any time at all, let's go straight to the Cesco. Let's start with Cesco. So this came out yesterday night from Simon Collins. Arsenal and Leipzig have already held talks of a deal for Benjamin Cesco, with the German club hoping to secure a fee in the region of 70 million. So 70 million pounds sounds like about what he should be sold for. I wasn't too keen on going up to like 90 million. That would have been too much. 70 million is around what like United bought Haaland for, and around what Liverpool bought Nunes for. That's around that range. So I think he's around that range for the kind of player he is. He started scoring goals very early age and all that. So 70 million would be totally fine with me. But the question is, how quickly are we going to get it done? And are we actually going to get it done? Now, Cesco is obviously our top target. You've already confirmed that. You've already been told that by several journalists, everyone confirming that, yep, this is Arsenal's biggest target in terms of the striker area. Now, I told you guys yesterday that I was 100% that we were going to sign Zubimendi. I wouldn't say I'm 100% we're going to sign Cesco, but I would say 80%. If it's between Cesco and Gyokeres, I think we are going to go for Cesco 85% of the time. But right now, Cesco to Arsenal, I think it's pretty much 80% done. The only thing that can make it go wrong is if they just completely fall out in terms of the negotiations. But that is where now Partey comes in. We'll also be talking about Partey in the Zubimendi deal, because it looks like he's done something crazy with the Martin Zubimendi deal, which shows you, yep, getting a new director sometimes and getting someone experienced can be very, very beneficial. So for Cesco, who knows? It could be it paid in installments as well. That could help us get a winger. Obviously, why we can't just say just pay the money. I usually see a lot of fans saying just pay the money. I think they have to break down, do we also want a left back? Do you also want a left winger? Can we get this deal done slowly, fast? And then if this other team is completely not backing off and allowing us to pay this money in installments and all that, you have to decide which one is more important. You have to decide which one is more doable in installments and all that. And for Cesco, we are going to have to wait and see what happens with him. So for this one, I'm 80% sure it's done. But why am I 80% and not 100%? Now, there's this news as well that has come out today. This was from Fabrizio very early in the morning. Saudi Pro League clubs have approached Benjamin Cesco in recent hours with important proposals. Understand Cesco's priority is to continue in Europe at this stage, with talks to follow in the next days. So Saudi Arabia clubs also want Cesco now, but he's keen to continue in Europe. Now, it doesn't really say specifically England, but the teams that want him are Arsenal, Liverpool, United. Arsenal are the favorites to get Benjamin Cesco. If he ends up leaving Leipzig, I'd expect him to join Arsenal. The fact that we wanted him basically the whole of the last summer transfer window before he signed a new deal at Leipzig, and the fact we've done so much groundwork with him since last season, I think you're going to get him. Now, that is something that I think Arteta and they did very well, and I think Partey is going to do very well. Groundwork is very important. Now, we can say, yes, Man United sign players wherever very quickly, but to be honest, many of them usually fail when you just sign players just like that without any not knowing where they're going to fit in your team and all that. It doesn't work. And after you've done a lot of groundwork, it helps, because that is how we ended up getting Declan Rice ahead of teams like Man City. That time I was very, very confident you're going to get Declan Rice even if Man City want him, because we had already done a lot of groundwork. So same with Zubimendi, same with Cesco. I think these players are definitely going to join Arsenal because of the groundwork we've done previously in the previous years. And also because we have a new director who's very experienced, especially that market in Spain and all that. And he knows that he knows a few people or two. And yeah, we do know in this world as well, you need to know a few people here and there to get into some situations. And Partey does know a few people, and if that benefits us, it's absolutely terrific for us, fantastic for us. So Saudi Arabia clubs do want Sesco, and that has also been confirmed today by Sam Dean, who says, my understanding is that 2 Saudi Pro League clubs have recently expressed an interest in signing Benjamin Sesco. The 22-year-old is thought to currently prefer a move to another European club, but the situation is fluid. Now, if I was Benjamin Sesco, the man is very, very good in Saudi Arabia, but you're 22 years of age, man. Even if you're not joining Arsenal, if I just put my Arsenal fan to the side and I'm Benjamin Sesko, you don't go to Saudi Arabia when you're being linked to Arsenal and Liverpool and maybe to a Bayern Munich and all these teams. There's still a lot to play for in European football yet. You need to do that fast, and then after maybe those 4 or 5 years elapsed, then you can move on to Saudi Arabia. Not now. Right now, there's a lot of teams that want you. There's a lot of opportunity for you. Arsenal is a team that is desperate for a striker that want you. Liverpool, you could say they could be desperate for a striker. When players like Jota leave, they could want you very seriously as well. Maybe not Man United. If it's Man United, just go to Saudi Arabia. But all the other teams, come on. There's a lot of, I think Liverpool and Arsenal and Bayern, all these teams will still pay you well. Probably not as much as Saudi Arabia, but there's still a lot of opportunity. There's still a lot of football to be played in Europe before he moves on to Saudi Arabia. So let's see how that one goes. That is the latest development. I'm still confident we're going to get him, because of the groundwork that we've done and because he's keen to stay in Europe. So that definitely helps. Now, that is Cesco latest news. Gyokeres has totally gone quiet. So that is why I think we're going to get Cesco. There's literally, yes, you've been told Gyokeres is basically a backup. I still don't know why no one has made a bid for Gyokeres yet. Not Liverpool, not Arsenal, not Man City, not Chelsea. No one has made a bid for Gyokeres. And I actually wouldn't be that surprised if he ended up staying there for another season, which would be surprising. But whenever that happens, I'm always like, do these teams like really not rate the Portuguese league at all, that no one wants to make a bid? They feel like it's an easy league. That's interesting, because I feel like he's still a very, very good president in the Champions League and all that. But let's see. Let's go to the next piece of news, and that is the big one, Zubimendi. I've already done a video on that. Make sure to watch it after this. David Onson said earlier today Martin Zubimendi's transfer to Arsenal is regarded by Arsenal as being done and signed. The player is expected to link up with the squad for the start of preseason. Real Madrid likes Zubimendi but did not pursue or actively work on recruiting him. Real Madrid, you can like Zubimendi as much as you want, man. Those things don't scare me at all. That's why yesterday I told you guys 100% sure Zubimendi is going to join Arsenal. This is usually a bullying trick. They're trying to bully us because they're Real Madrid. And, Real Madrid wants a player, they're going to definitely get him ahead of you. No, I just said in the previous video that I've just done, us fans as well need to stop being scared of these teams. Every time I see a lot of comments of people saying, oh my God, Madrid want him now, he's going to go there. Why? He doesn't have to go there. He can come to Arsenal. He doesn't have to go to Real Madrid. We don't have to believe that every time someone is wanted by Real Madrid, they have to go there. No. Same with Saliba. I don't have to think that Saliba is going to go to Real Madrid because it's Real Madrid. No. In the future, in the next 4 or 5 years, fine. But right now, I'm not sure that Saliba is going to leave Arsenal this season or in January to go to Real Madrid. No. So this thing, and we've had that because they've also said that Real Madrid have not really even pursued him that much. But from what we hear about or from their fans, there's a lot of Madrid pages online, big accounts, and they're always like, okay, I think they wrote it in the newspaper as well yesterday that something like when Real Madrid come calling, he has to go there. No, he doesn't. That is where now you have to do groundwork. Real Madrid is still the biggest team in the world. I know that. They have 15 Champions League titles. I know that. I know Ronaldo has played there. I know Zidane has played there. I know Figo has played there. I know all of those players have played there. I know it's very easy to just choose Real Madrid. Many players choose Real Madrid. I wouldn't blame Trent for choosing there. I wouldn't even blame Saliba for choosing there. But you have to believe in the, we usually say project. Let's just use that word, even though we don't like it. You have to believe in the project of where you're going, and he knows he's going to have a role at Arsenal. I'm sure he would have had a role at Real Madrid because Kroos has recently left and Modric has recently left. He's going to have a role in Real Madrid as well, and would have wanted to stay in Spain. Absolutely no problem. But we've already done the groundwork. We already have given him an opportunity at Arsenal of where he's going to play. And this is what we need. I don't know what Epsa told him. I don't know what Edu told him before. I don't know what Bart has told him. But we've done the groundwork. That is where groundwork is very important. To get players like Zubimendi, to get players like Declan Rice, you have to do groundwork. Now, I don't believe we've done groundwork on Gyokeres that much, but I believe we've done groundwork on Cesco. So I don't believe Gyokeres would just say, okay, I really want to join Arsenal right now. because I don't think we've talked to him that much recently. But players like Sesko and Zubimendi, this is a player we've wanted for a long time. You're hearing that I wanted him like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but you weren't able to get him. I know he rejected Liverpool. But yeah, he's not going to reject us. He's going to be an Arsenal player. And I trust these guys so much. That's why I usually use like 5 or 6 journalists. I don't think Fabrizio ever gets a here we go wrong. Maybe one out of everyone that he's done. Whenever he says here we go, it probably will happen. He has some connection somewhere. And when David Ornstein says it as well, it's probably going to be done. And Sami Mokbel, who's been very, very good in Arsenal news, says it is probably going to be done. And the new king as well on Twitter, Hand of Arsenal, says it as well. It's going to be done. So the reason why it's not going to be done right now is because Sociedad want to wait for the new financial year so that we give them the money starting from July. So Zubimendi will not sign for us tomorrow or the next day, but we've already been told Arsenal saying it is already a done deal. The player is going to go on holiday, come back, do a medical. I don't know if he's going to do a medical before, but probably when he comes back, and then he's going to sign for us, probably July 1st or something. That's what I would say. I don't know, maybe this month, I don't know, but because Sociedad want us to wait, you have to wait. But as long as Arsenal know it's a done deal, it doesn't matter who else wants him. If he's not going to go to Real Madrid, I don't think there's anyone else who's going to scare the people who are scared about Real Madrid getting Zubimendi. So this is a done deal. Only delay is that, but not because he's waiting for Real Madrid. That is not the case. So I am very confident. So I'm even going to say right now, welcome to Arsenal Zubimendi. In my head, our midfield already has the. In my head, Partey has already signed a new contract and Zubimendi has already signed for Arsenal. So it would be a complete disaster if it didn't happen. I don't think it's not going to happen. He's going to be an Arsenal player, and we've gotten that confirmation that we wanted. So nothing to worry about with Zubimendi. And the transfer window is closing today, by the way. It's opening again in 6 days. So I don't know if people are banned from talking to players for the next 6 days. But I don't know. He's going to be an Arsenal player, and I cannot wait for that combination with Partey and Rice and Odegaard and everyone else, his teammate in Spain and former Sociedad teammate Merino. We basically have the Sociedad midfield, by the way. Merino, Zubimendi, and Odegaard was Sociedad's midfield a couple of years ago. So we have all 3 of them. So welcome to Arsenal Zubimendi. Nothing to worry about. Let's go to the next piece of news, and that is regarding the installments. So the Athletic also went on to say, that is Ghana blog and Kote Ghana. Arsenal will pay a total of around £55 million for Martin Zubimendi, more than his release clause. Now, why are we doing that? Because okay, let's just keep on reading and then I'll tell you, which is in the region of, we are supposed to pay 51 million, but you're going to pay 55 million instead, after agreeing with Sociedad to pay his transfer in installments. Coming to this agreement after months of negotiations enables Arsenal to avoid paying the release clause in one lump sum. So what I've heard, I don't take my word for it. I'm not 100% sure about this one, but I've heard we could pay in like 4 years or 5-year installments. That would be crazy. If you can get to pay Zubimendi for 5 years, pay for him, and if this is the guy that has done those negotiations, to pay 55, that can even go up to 70 million. If they're allowing you to pay 5 years, or for 5 years, you can even take that from 51 million to 60, 70 million, because it's worth it. It's a player who's going to change, or at least freshen up our midfield. I think it's definitely going to change the direction of our midfield, in terms of controlling the midfield, in terms of quality, passing lanes. Maybe now we can use the midfield, because Arsenal has always been a team recently that we use the wings a lot, especially Saka's wing. Just wing, cross, wing, cross. That's what we do. Maybe it's Zubimendi in midfield and Odegaard with a striker in front of him. We can be using the midfield as well. Just, Zubimendi to Odegaard, to Rice, and then we carry the ball forward, and then we can have through passes there. We can play a different style with Zubimendi there, and I think he will allow it. And he's younger, so he's more mobile than Partey. Partey still want him to stay. Probably they'll get maybe the same number of minutes next season. I don't know as Zubimendi is going to adapt. And that reminds me of, put a poll in the chat on YouTube. If you're watching on a different platform, let me know in the comments, how long do you want Partey to be given? Do you want Partey to be given a 1-year contract, a 2-year contract, same salary, or do you want his salary to be reduced, or you don't want him to get a new contract at all? So far, 54% have said extend his for 2 years, extend his contract for 2 years. So let's see. Both of them in the team, plus Rice and Marina and all these guys, we become an even more solid team. So if you're actually going to pay for 5 years, that is crazy. So that will be the deal, 55 million for Zubimendi. The Athletic have confirmed that, so nothing to worry about. So yeah, welcome to Arsenal, Zubimendi. So now we wait for the medical, and we wait for Arsenal to confirm it in the next few weeks too. Let's go to Guehi. This is news that I've had today. Guehi is a player that has been wanted by Chelsea before, Newcastle a lot of last season. Ghana blog had this to say. If Arsenal enter the defender market, one player high on their list is Mark Guehi. Wow. However, while the Englishman has a year remaining on his contract, the issue may be whether he's prepared to fight for his position in a World Cup year. So, yeah, that is something I've also not mentioned. There's a World Cup coming up next year. So players like Rodrygo and players like that, they probably would want to move away from Madrid so that they get an opportunity to play in that World Cup. And the players who don't usually play, they will want to play in the World Cup, so they'd want to move away from their teams. Now, the reason Newcastle did not sign Guehi last year is because they wanted something crazy like £80 million. Now, we cannot pay that for a defender right now. We can't afford it, and we don't need a defender right now as a priority. I want us to get a defender, but the very last signing because of the injuries. But Guehi for 80 million would be crazy. But we are going to be in that market. I don't think Crystal Palace are good. They've just won the FA Cup as well. They probably rate him even higher. But he does have 1 year remaining on his contract. So maybe at this point it could be like 40 million. But I still don't think it's worth it paying that kind of money. I think the only way we go for someone like a Guehi is if Kiwior leaves. I know Kiwior can play on the right side of the centre back and he can play as a left back, although I don't like him there that much. But I see Gabriel and Kiwior as the two in that position. And maybe Ben White and Saliba in the other position, and then Ben White and Timber at right back, and then Calafiori and Lewis Kelly helping each other out. I still think we need an extra defender there, an extra option, mainly because of the injuries. If we did not have any injuries, I would be very, very happy with our defense. But because of the injuries, it's a bit too risky. And unfortunately, we have like 3 or 4 players, defenders, who can pick up injuries anytime. Timber, Calafiori, Tomiyasu, and recently Ben White has been picking up a lot of injuries as well. I know there was one main one, but he's missed a couple of games with different injuries this past season. So having 4 players who 2 of them are probably injury prone in Tomiyasu and Calafiori, and then you have Timber who's coming back from an ACL injury and has been getting... Timber basically gets treated every single game. Someone comes in to treat him every single game. And then you also have to look at Lewis Kelly as an actual midfielder. And then on top of that, Gabriel has just missed 3 months. He's going to miss like 4 months. He's done surgery as well. And then Saliba is also currently injured. So that is a problem. You cannot go into next season without with just 4 fit defenders, because there you'd have to be worried, What if Saliba gets a red card in the first game and then misses 3 games? You don't wish for bad things to happen, but you have to consider it, because we've seen bad things can happen. Last season, with those injuries, anything can happen in those red cards. So you have to have it in the back of your mind that, okay, what if Saliba misses 4 games at the start of the season? There's no one there. If Gabriel is not yet fit and Kiwior is leaving, there's a problem there. So for me, Kiwior has to stay. I don't think we can even consider selling Kiwior. Ben White, Timber, those guys, all of them have to stay. Zinchenko is probably going to leave. And Zinchenko leaving will mean we need another defender. If Zinchenko is not going to leave, maybe we just stay there as a third option and we don't have to sign a defender. But Zinchenko as well is another player who gets injured anytime. So we have a lot of problems there in defense, not quality-wise, but injury-wise, we have a lot of problems. So will Guehi be the solution? Guehi would probably be the solution if we end up selling players like Kiwior, and I don't think we should be spending that much time on a defender later on in the transfer window. Let's see how Gabriel recovers from his injury. Let's see how Saliba recovers, and then, sometime in July after the preseason has started, then we can see, okay, should we get another defender when there's like 3 weeks remaining in the transfer window, before the Premier League season starts. But as of now, let's focus on the forward positions. That's what we need to do. Forward positions, and the Zubimendi deal, and then we move on to signing Kepa, and then look at the defense. Lastly, I think this is the last one. No, it's not the last one. LiveScore reported that I think they got the information from Simon, but they didn't tag them. Rodrygo remains Arsenal's priority target this summer per multiple reports. Look at how good Rodrygo looks in an Arsenal shirt. Look at that. That looks absolutely amazing. Rodrygo in an Arsenal shirt. It's not yet done though, but Arsenal is Arsenal's priority in the left winger position. So let's see how this one goes. This one I can't say I'm 100% sure he's going to join Arsenal now. We've been linked to several wingers, so we just now have to wait and see who we actually end up getting. But hopefully, if it's Rodrygo, hopefully the reason why we are doing Zubimendi in installments and going for a goalkeeper is going to be worth 5 million, and going for a cheaper defender and wanting to reduce Partey's salary. I hope all of these things that we are doing is because we want to sign a big player like Rodrygo on the winger position and Sesco and players like that up front, Gyokeres, whoever. Hopefully that is the reason where we are saving that money, because if we ended up doing the problem would be if we spend 5 million on Kepa and then get a cheap defender and then reduce Partey's salary and then let go of Zinchenko because of his salary, and then probably think about letting go of Jesus in January because of his salary, and then we don't sign anyone, then I'd be like, what is going on? But if we do all that and then we get a big player like Rodrygo, then that is great. But yes, Arsenal's priority in that position is Rodrygo, which is great to hear. That is absolutely great to hear. We were never in these markets, man. Like, if you go back to 2021, we were a real banter team, man. 2020, 2021, losing at home to Burnley and getting trashed 3-0, 4-0 every game. You'd never hear Arsenal want Rodrygo, never. The kind of players you wanted those days, second team players from Marseille, and you'd hear about players from Basel. Shout out to players like El Neni, great servant in the team, very, very good guy. But you see the kind of market we were going for. How much was El Neni? El Neni was a very cheap player. Those are the kind of markets we were going to, like Basel and teams like that in Switzerland. Nowadays, it's very good to hear Arsenal being linked to Rodrygo. Oh, Arsenal want Rodgers. Arsenal are being linked to Eze. Arsenal are being linked to, one of the best players in the Premier League last season in Semen. Those are the kind of players we need to be linked to. Top players from Real Madrid and from Barcelona, I like to hear things like that. Let's be a big team. That includes everyone, the board, the manager, the players, and the fans as well. Whenever we hear Real Madrid wants someone, let's not say, oh my goodness, he's going to go there. No, we have to believe in our team as well. And let's hope. I think if we end up signing players like Rodrygo this transfer window and Zubimendi and players like that, is going to change a lot of people's perspective on Arsenal in the transfer market. That is where finishing second helps us. Finishing second is very heartbreaking 3 times in a row, but this is one of the situations where it helps you, because a player like Rodrygo would look at you and be like, okay, we are higher than teams like Man United. That's great. And he'd look at you and also be like, okay, you've competed for the Premier League title 3 times, which is really 2 times. Didn't really compete for it last season. But maybe I'm the last missing piece. Maybe if I go there, there's still very good quality players there, and it would be exciting. This would be the kind of signing to excite Arsenal. Let's finish off with this. Marquinhos has officially left now, confirmed. Marquinhos has joined Brazilian side Cruzeiro on a permanent transfer from Arsenal. So all the best to him. Nothing against him at all. I still remember his goal in the Europa League. Very exciting moment. But the truth is, Marquinhos and Tavares and Lokonga and players like that, when we signed them, we were just a Europa League team trying to finish in the top 4, top 5. But right now, we are trying to compete with Man City, who are signing Aït-Nouri and Reinders and Shirky, and you're trying to compete with Liverpool, who are about to splash 120-something million on VATs, and they still have Salah, they still have Van Dijk. Those are the teams they're trying to compete with. We've seen in the Champions League, even if you beat Real Madrid, there's still other top teams that you still need to beat. To win that Champions League, you'd have had to beat PSG and also Inter Milan, and there was Barcelona there as well, those other teams. So to compete for trophies like that, you'll have to compete with Real, Bayern, Inter, PSG, these super teams. You need a squad. So players like Marquinhos wouldn't really fit there. And that is why I also feel like players like Reece Nelson, the time and the gap has passed, man. That's why players like Nketiah couldn't have worked. Maybe even Smith Rowe and a few other players in the current team. I don't think we're on that level right now. We are trying to go to the very next level. You're trying to sign players like Declan Rice. We want like 10 Declan Rices in the team. That is what we are looking for. So all the best to him for his future. Let me come to your comments now. But just to recap what we've talked about, Let's start with Cesco. So Simon Collins reported yesterday that Arsenal and Leipzig have held talks of a deal for Benjamin Sesko around £70 million. Fabrizio's confirmed that a couple of Saudi Arabia clubs want Cesco, but Cesco wants to stay in Europe. Same with Sam Dean. It says 2 Saudi Pro League teams want Cesco, but the 22-year-old prefers another European club. David Austin confirmed earlier today that Martin Zubimendi's transfer to Arsenal is regarded by the club as being done, so nothing to worry about there, despite Real Madrid fans saying they want him. But yeah, according to reports from Real themselves, they did not pursue Zubimendi at all. Or is that a deflection tactic? You know, when people don't end up signing a player, they might be like, you know what, we didn't actually want him. Maybe Zubimendi said, no, I'm going to Arsenal. And then they're like, let's change this story. Let's just say we didn't want him. That could be the reason as well. They don't want to be embarrassed 3 times by Arsenal in the same year. We already did that in the 2 games. Athletic has reported that you're going to pay 55 million instead of 51 million, that to allow us to pay in installments. There is reports that it could be 5 different installments, 5 different years, I think. Let's wait and see. I'm not sure about that one, but if that's the case, that is a really good deal for our players. Definitely going to improve our midfield. If Arsenal are going to enter the defender market, we are going to want Mark Guehi, or Guehi is high on the list. Do I think you're going to get someone like a Guehi? I don't think so because of his price, but let's see. I don't think he would agree to join Arsenal because that will mean his second team. There's a World Cup coming up. That position is not set for him. There's players like Dan Burn and all these guys, Levi Colwill from Chelsea. So if Guehi wants to go to the World Cup and play for England, he has to play first team football. So that is why I don't think he'd join Arsenal. We already have Gabriel and Kiv in that spot. Rodrygo remains Arsenal's priority target this summer, as reported by LiveScore there. And Marquinhos has moved on to Cruzeiro. All the best to him. So yeah, this is the breaking news. Let me come to you guys' comments. Let's see what you have to say about all this. 57% are now saying extend for 2 more years. Partey, 30% are saying give him 1 more year. Only 6% are saying don't give him a new contract at all. How are you doing? Ake, nice seeing you here again as always. Please subscribe and smash the like button. Yep, if you're watching, if you hit the like button, really helps us a lot. I appreciate it. Mukosa says, what is Arsenal looking for? Other teams are busy signing, but us, we have not even signed anyone. I don't think that is the case. I think Zubimendi is already an Arsenal player. I already think, for me, I'm not usually in a rush like that. As long as I know Zubimendi is going to sign for Arsenal, I don't need them to announce it today or next month. As long as it's there by preseason, I'm totally happy. So don't compare with teams like Man City and Chelsea. Chelsea and Man City are going to play a Club World Cup with Real Madrid and all these guys. They have another competition coming up. So the other teams that are not there, like Arsenal and Liverpool, they're not really in a rush to sign 3-4 players before then. Ronnie says, Zubimendi, welcome to Arsenal. Yeah, this is already a done deal. Mubarak says, Mr. Glenn, big up, sir, but Arsenal fan, as an Arsenal fan, I'm thrilled that Zubimendi is done and signed. Sheriff says, when you really need the top striker, Cesco is going to sign for Arsenal, so that is going to be a striker. So let's hope he's the top striker that you said. Arsenal is a big team. Look at other teams. They go for players they want. That is true, but in terms of that, I don't think anyone has said Arsenal is not really going for players they want. So Arsenal wants Zubimendi, we are going for him. Arsenal wants Sesco, we are going for him. As fans, we want Gyokeres, but we don't know if Arsenal want Gyokeres. So if we are going for who the team wants, I think they want Sesco ahead of Gyokeres. So as long as they get the players that they want, I'm okay with that. As long as we don't miss out on 2-3 players that we wanted first and then go for backups. That's what I don't want. Christopher says, good afternoon. I'm watching you all the way from Nigeria. I like the way you analyze the sports. Please give me more about Arsenal. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate it. Vincent says, we are hoping for... Vincent, it's refusing to click on your comment. There we go. We are hoping for the best in our team next season. Yep. Good afternoon, Ibrahim. I'm watching you all the way from Sierra Leone. Thank you. All we want is signing new players, says Abdul Rahman. That is it. That's the main thing. That's not the only thing we want. We also want to keep players like Gabriel and Saka and Saliba and we also want to win trophies. There's a lot of things we want to do. We are hoping for the best in our team next season, says Basse. Thanks for the show, says Cooper. I'm from Monrovia, Liberia. Thank you for watching. Oluo says 2-year contract. Same with Cooper, 2-year contract. Mohammed says 2-year contract. Let's see. Our problem is striker. After that, go for Rodrygo. Keep Martinelli, will help Saka on his wing. I don't like Martinelli on the right wing, but if he's part of the squad, no problem. I would still prefer Nwaneri on that side. But it's great to have different options. Sometimes Martinelli, sometimes Trossard. That's why I feel like we need to keep all of them. If we start selling them, we'll need another player. Even after signing Rodrygo and a striker, we'll still need another player on top of that. Chol says haven't won major trophies in 20 years, doesn't 5 years. Doesn't mean that Arsenal is a small club to be rejected by big players in the world. We also attracted many players in the world. I'm so happy to hear that Martin Zubimendi transfers to Arsenal is unchanged. Yeah, you're right. Not winning for 20 years doesn't really mean you're not going to get the players. Even finishing second, even if you finish, I think, second like 10 years in a row, players will still want to join us. I mean, if you look at Man United, players still want to go there and they're like 15th on the table. So I think those teams' names they hold water in the whole world, you know. Everyone knows who Arsenal is, everyone knows who Man United is. So it does help. But winning trophies also does help to keep the players that you have and sign more players, obviously. Right now, teams are trying to bully us because we haven't won. That's why people start saying, oh, Real Madrid won this player, definitely not going to Arsenal because we haven't won the Champions League and things like that. But the moment you start winning them, they'll stop disrespecting you. Rajab says, when will Arsenal sign a striker? That's the major problem. I hope we won't get different news at the end of the window. Hopefully not. If that happens, it would be disastrous. I don't think there's an excuse for not signing a striker this time around. I think that is the main reason why they appointed Barter to begin with. So you have to get a striker. Emma says, why can't Arsenal get both Sesko and Gyokeres and sell Havertz? That is not going to be possible. Why? I don't think Sesko and Gyokeres will both agree to join the same team anyway, because none of them wants to be a backup to the other. So if Cesco goes to Arsenal, Gyokeres will just say, no, I don't want to go to Arsenal and back up Cesco. I'll just go to Liverpool and start where Nunes has been sold, and I'll go there and start instead. So I don't think any of the players will go to the same team. Second, you have to discuss with both players in detail. So Barter has to sit with both camps and talk to them in detail. While you're doing that, other teams will be talking to the other players. So it's impossible to get both of them done. Number 3, money. Number 4, wages. And number 5, Havertz is not going to be sold. Havertz is Arteta's biggest. Havertz is not going to be sold until the time that Arteta leaves Arsenal. You know, Havertz is not going to be sold, so you might as well forget about that. And reasons why Havertz is not going to be sold apart from that is we signed Havertz for 65 million. If we sell him today, Arsenal will want like 70 million. The question is, who will come and pay 70 million right now to sign Havertz from us? I don't think there's anyone. He gets paid like 260,000 per week. Who is going to come and do that right now? No one. So it's I wouldn't say we are stuck with him. No, I still think he contributes to the team, but it's not possible. It's not as easy as that. I also don't like selling players after 1 year and 2 years and all that. Or let's specifically say 1 season, 1.5 seasons, sell them. The way Chelsea does it, they buy someone and then after 5 months they're gone. I don't like that approach at all. So Havertz is not going to be sold. We might as well just forget about that one. Havertz is not going to be sold at all. Havertz is probably going to start the first Premier League game, whether we like it or not. So, hello, Ibrahim. I'm watching you from the UK. Thank you. Good afternoon from Nigeria. Says Idris. I want to see Sesco to Arsenal next season. He's surely going to be a banger in the EPL, hopefully. Good evening, enjoying the show from Zambia. Can Arsenal manage to bring in Morgan Rogers? I hope so. I really love Morgan Rogers as well. If I was to choose 3 players, I would say Gyokeres, Rodrygo, and Rogers. That would be a lot of money, but those kind of signings would change the direction of your club completely. I'm watching, and Aston Villa have a few problems now that they haven't made Champions League, so they might have to sell a couple of players. I'm watching you from Nigeria. Keep it up, says Fawole. Thank you. All we need is Gyokeres, says Tunde. Nice. Let's go for striker first. Says Jude. Jude says, why can't we go for Garnacho? I've not even spoken about Garnacho, by the way, but I've seen rumors saying Arsenal might go for Garnacho. If Arsenal said, okay, we're not going to sign Rodrygo, we're not going to sign Nico Williams, we're not going to sign Lookman, we're not going to sign Rafa Leao, we're not going to sign Semenyo, we're not going to sign all these players, but we've decided to sign Garnacho. Yeah, I would not be happy at all. Yeah, that would not make sense at all. If Garnacho was 10 million, then okay, but Garnacho will cost you 50 or 60 million. And I also don't want us to get too many players who are being chased away from their teams. No. Hamid says, thanks for your updates. You're welcome. I'm Alex watching from Ghana. Nice show. You're welcome, Alex. Arsenal have to sign a new centre back. I've not decided whether I want a centre back or a left back, because Calafiori is a centre back. He's not really a left back. So we can say right now, how many centre backs do we have? Gabriel, Kivio, Saliba, Calafiori. That is 4. And then we have Ben White and Timber who can play there. Ben White and Timber signed for Arsenal when there were centre backs. So we've just transformed them to full backs. So we have 6 players who can play centre back, but we have 4 that really will play there. But I think Calafiori will be used as a left back. Now it depends. I don't know if Calafiori is going to start the same game. I think they're going to start the same number of games. If he remains fit, him and Luis Kelly are going to play the same number of games. But I want us to have. I don't want Gabriel to play every game again and Saliba to play every game. No. Especially even in the Champions League, those 8 games in the group, sometimes they're going to play against Club Brugge at home. No disrespect to those teams, but you get what I mean. You're going to play these players against Real Madrid, fine. But the next game, if you have Dinamo Zagreb at home, you don't have to play both Gabriel and Saliba. You can play Calafiori and Saliba, rest Gabriel, all that. So I've not decided whether I want a centre back or a left back, Emmanuel, but someone who can play both probably. That would be great. I just watched Partey speak in Ghana, and when he was asked about his constitution, he says he wants to stay. He will be happy, says Musa. I think he does want to stay. Maybe there's something that also tells him, okay, Barcelona want you, would you want to go and play for Barcelona for 1-2 years? Maybe. But maybe the situation here is money. I do think the thing here is money. I don't think Arsenal want to pay him that much money, and maybe Partey wants to be paid that much money. I don't know. I think he will stay, though. I think he will eventually stay. Musanda says Kai will come back to the mid, watching from Zambia. I don't know where will Rice play then, Musanda? Because that central position, it's going to be Zubimendi and Partey. I can't see both of them being on the bench. Not at all. So Rice has to play. Rice cannot be. Rice is Saka and Rice. If everyone is fit, Saka and Rice are the first people in the team. You cannot bench them. So Rice will not be benched. So where will Kai play? Because Odegaard will also not be benched. I cannot wait for preseason, by the way, because I'm wondering where Marino will play and where Havertz will play. I'm waiting to see that as well. So I think Havertz will still start some games. I think we're going to see Havertz and Sesco on the pitch at the same time sometimes. I think we are going to see Cesco on the left wing once or twice. I also think we are somehow going to see Havertz on the right wing once or twice. I also think we're going to see a front 2. We're also going to see Havertz playing in the Odegaard role once or twice. Just interesting. I have no problem with that. Just have a lot of different ways of playing. That's what I want. I don't want us to be predictable. So I want us to have different approaches to different games. Douglas says, Glenn, loving your show. Continue. Much love. Thank you, Douglas. Thank you for watching. Mordi says, Garnacho, why do we always seek for reject from other countries? We have a look at what's doing good. Why don't we go for him? Yeah, I've had our name being linked to Garnacho, but I don't think we'll go for Garnacho there. Players like Garnacho, the discipline problem, Arteta does not like players like that. Now, I don't know what has been happening at Man United, but I'm just saying what we've been told. I don't think he was treated fairly anyway. I still think he's an okay player. But in terms of falling out with the managers, I don't think... That's why I think Arteta would never go for someone like an Osimhen, because of Osimhen had a little issues with the managers. I don't think Arteta would ever want Osimhen to be in his team. Some people have said Arteta doesn't really want big egos like that. That's why he let go of players like Aubameyang and Ozil. maybe that is true. So that's why I never thought someone like an Osimhen would join Arsenal. I don't think they would get along with Arteta. If players like Luis Suarez played today, I also don't think they would get along. Thanks for the good work from Sierra Leone, says Osman. Thank you. Saka needs a backup so he can be serious. Now, yesterday we were told, so he can be serious. I don't think that is fair. I think Saka has been our best player for 5 years. I think Saka is always serious. When he was coming back from the injury, yeah, it was different. I didn't expect him to be at that level. But yeah, I don't think Saka and not being serious is a thing we can have in the same sentence. Saka is the player that is usually serious when everyone else is not. So yeah, I get what you mean though. Getting a backup. They've said that Arsenal want a backup for Saka, so let's see how it goes. I remember Kai playing on the wing. That can be possible. Yep, he played there for Leverkusen, but that is very different, man. You know, the kind of wingers I want to play for Arsenal, the kind of wingers you want to play for Arsenal, Leao and Rodrygo and these guys, we can't have Havertz starting on the wing in a game. In the last 10 minutes of a different game, depending on how the game has gone, that is fine, but you cannot have him starting on the wing in a game. No. Give Partey 2 years, says Samuel. Good evening, Elias. Kai should be sold, says Emmanuel. I'm going to repeat it again. Havertz will not be sold. We might as well stop thinking about that. Havertz will be an Arsenal player for the next 3 years at least. That I can tell you for the next 2 years at least, until when we are going to need to renew his contract or something, then we can see what happens. But Havertz is not going to be sold. Why is Arsenal always making their deals seem too difficult? Seems like we are the only ones who drag deals. Calafiori, Declan. Oh, the Calafiori one was crazy. You took like 2 months. Declan Rice, Timber, Thomas, now Zubimendi, Sesko. For Zubimendi, again, I'm not going to say anything about it, but let's see how the transfer window goes overall, and then I'll see how Bata has done. As long as you get the players, though, as long as you don't being linked to all these players and then we end up not getting them, that's the problem. But yeah, it's always obviously a bit frustrating when you talk about the same players every single time. Would love Garnacho at Arsenal, says Elias. So pacey and direct. That is very good. So pacey and direct. But I want wingers with finishing product. So Martinelli is also a very good player who can run past you. But the reason why we are talking about replacing Martinelli is because of the end product mostly. And second, because of the taking on of players. Now, Garnacho can do that. But he would be like, if you're to ask me right now from the wingers that you're being linked to, he would be like 10th on the list. Nowhere near the first one. And because of the money, Garnacho would cost you like 60 million. Would you pay 60 million for Garnacho? Goodman says, hello, I'm in South Africa. Love your work. Thank you for watching. Goodman. Emma says, I wish if Rice could become an Arsenal captain next season. I'm not too keen on changing the captain. I don't think Odegaard has been that bad to be changing as a captain. I think we always look at the recent season. We also need to remember that Odegaard was very good for 3 seasons. Last one was his first one as a terrible season. So I don't think you can always do that. Okay, Gabriel has been very good for 5 years. Gabriel is bad next season. Oh, Salim. No, we cannot do that. If Odegaard has another bad season next season, then we can talk about that. But I don't think it's been that much of a disaster to be like, okay, you need to get out. But he definitely needs to improve the performances. There was so many poor games last season from him for sure. Let's see. Also, I also feel like this is just another problem, and starting to change the captain again. It's too much, man. Unless there's really an indiscipline problem or something, it's just a lot of other drama again. We need to win trophies next season. I don't think changing captain from Odegaard to Rice next season would mean that you get an extra 10 points. I don't think it would make that much of a difference. No, but Rice is a very good leader. Just keep it the way it is. We need a striker fast glance, says Rajab. Get Cesco and then Gyokeres, then a backup for Starboy. I wish that was possible. Also, if you got Sesco and Gyokeres, that will mean you're not able to get a Rodrygo. That's what I believe. So, yeah, we need a striker and a winger. We should keep Martinelli, says Samuel. I 100% agree. Not as a starter, though. I want a new left winger to start. Will you be live till the window closes? Not today, no. Yeah, I don't even know why they have this deadline there, so let's not acknowledge it. I think it's very stupid that they have the transfer window closing today and then opening again in the next 6 days. So if I do a show until 11 p.m., it would mean I'm acknowledging that transfer window closing. Now, for me, the transfer window is still open tomorrow and the next day. I still want Arsenal to keep on doing the business. Let's see. DJ China says, good evening. Was it China? Please, we need a striker and a backup winger to reduce the overworkload for Saka. Yeah. Edu says Rafalia would be a very good option. Lawrence says Arsenal need Eze to bring competition to Odegaard. I would love Eze at Arsenal for sure. I missed a couple here. Let me see what the result is in terms of the poll. So I asked you guys how many years do you want Partey to be given. So far, 61% said they want Partey to be given 2 years, 28% 1 year, 6% no new contract, 5% say they want Partey to get a new contract, but his wages to be released. First quarter of the transfer window is closing today. Is it really a quarter? It's been 10 days open, to be honest. So we're not even anywhere near the quarter. But the transfer window is closing today and opening again. So yeah, hopefully though, I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. Hopefully. That is why I brought in Bata to Arsenal. And by the way, Ateta is in I think Ateta is in Mallorca. I think I saw pictures of him in Mallorca. He's in the beach enjoying himself. So I don't think we're going to be announcing a player today or tomorrow. Ateta is in the beach in Mallorca enjoying himself. And the players are in on their holidays right now. And the transfer window is closing today for the next 6 days. But yeah, hopefully by the time we finish this month and by the time we come to play preseason, we have our striker there, we have our left winger there, we have Zubimendi there, we have our backup goalkeeper there, we have an extra defender, and hopefully another extra attacker, whether it's a Saka backup, whether it's an Odegaard competition, whether it's another number 8 who can attack. That is great. There's a lot of options out there. Let's hope that we get them. Let's hope that when we get to July, we don't say, oh my goodness, Cesco has gone to Liverpool, Gyokeres has gone to Chelsea, Rodgers has gone to Liverpool. They have Vats and Rodgers. No, I don't want that. That would be disastrous. So let's just hope we can get our deals done as quickly as possible. As of now, I can't say anything about Arsenal being slow or quick. The director is new. Let's just see how he does. 2 years says move. Good evening, Harrison. Let's buy Gyokeres and play Sesco. The number 10 role says Sinclair. That is definitely not possible. Cesco is not a creator. Odegaard is a creator. So if you put Odegaard and Cesco in that position, Odegaard will create more chances. So that is not going to happen. As a backup for Gyokeres, again, not possible because Cesco will not want to be a backup for Gyokeres. Although I still think he's going to start a few games on the bench and Havertz is going to start. Even without the armband, Rice is already a lead. I agree. But I believe we'll captain Arsenal in some of our matches next season, especially when Odegaard is not available. That is true, but I don't think you're going to change captain from Odegaard. Stripping him off captain? No, we've done that so many times and it's just brought a lot of problems. Aubameyang and Gallas and all these guys. Odegaard is not in discipline. His performances were poor, but he still had 2 or 3 very good seasons before that. So if you measure them, he's had good seasons here and his bad season here. So you can't just change the captain because he had 12 to 15 bad games out of 200 games. Michael says, good evening. Cesco can play as a winger so he can get both Cesco and Gyokeres. Possible, but then we need to talk about money. Then you can't get Rodrygo, Michael. So who do you prefer? Cesco on the wing or Rodrygo on the wing? Because you're already spending 55 million on Zubimendi. So if you buy Cesco, Gyokeres, and Rodrygo, we are talking about 300 million, which is not possible. Glenn, for me, I think if Martinelli would go for Rodrygo, but him staying, we're going to see Lookman and Semenyo. I think even if Martinelli is staying, you need to go for Rodrygo. And if Rodrygo comes in, I think he starts ahead of Martinelli. So Martinelli still, the reason I'm not selling Martinelli is still because he's very hardworking on the pitch. You never watch a game and say Martinelli is quiet. Never, ever. He still comes back and defends. We still need numbers, though. I need him to be finishing his chances and all that because I can count 3 or 4 games that he had one-on-one chances that he should have scored. especially that the Atalanta one and the Newcastle one and the Bournemouth one. Away, we should have been 1-0 up against Bournemouth, even with the red card to Saliba if Martinelli scored that chance. So doesn't just apply to him though. I need Havertz to improve on his finishing. I need Odegaard to shoot more. I need Trossard is still, I think, our best finisher. I actually still think Trossard is our best finisher. I also don't think Saka is the best finisher when it comes to one-on-one. So I also need him to improve on that. I need Rice to take more shots. There's a lot of improvements that you can make. We can buy both Sesko and Gyokeres because Gyokeres can play as a left wing and striker as well. Yeah, but if you do that, Edu, you're not going to buy Rodrygo. So I want us to buy a striker and a winger, an out-and-out winger, not someone who can play there. Someone who wants to play there and has been playing there for the last 20 years. That is what I want. Thanks for your update, says Lovely Coyote. What a name. Thanks for your updates. I would like to see Gibbs White to Arsenal. That's another one in that range of Morgan Rogers and those guys. Lawrence says, what do you think of Hutchinson from Ipswich? Is a good left wing. Are you talking about Omari Hutchinson, the guy who left Arsenal? Is that the guy you're talking about? That's the guy you're talking about. Hutchinson left Arsenal, man. I don't think you're going to be bringing him back. I think he refused to sign a contract at Arsenal and then he went to Chelsea. Yeah, but I mean, we usually sign players who've played for Chelsea. So maybe if he goes back to Chelsea, we are going to sign him from there. But yeah, for now, we're not going to bring back Hutchinson. I want us to sign a very high level of players, Lawrence. I think we've been signing this kind of players for many years. Now I want us to go to the big boy market, let's go and shop. Let's not do thrift anymore for now. Let's go and buy a few players from Versace and from Christian Dior. Let's shop at that for this transfer window alone. Big market, let's pay $10,000s and all that. We need Rodrygo, Cesco, Zubi, and Gyokeres, and we wait for our trophies. Rodrygo, Cesco, Zubi, and Gyokeres. Wow, that would be amazing if you got those four. That would be. Imagine if you have Cesco, Gyokeres, Rodrygo. I would never ever ask for another forward player again. Although I would get Gyokeres, Rodrygo, and another number 8, number 10, so someone like a Rogers. But if you can get two strikers, that is fine. But I still think Merino and Havertz are going to play a few games as a striker next season, as long as we're not depending on them. I have no problem with Merino and Havertz playing a few games as a striker. My problem is depending on them to score goals for you and winning games for you. That is the problem. But if we are 2-0 up and Havertz is coming on as a striker for the last 25 minutes, no problem. If we are drawing 1-1 and then I see Havertz coming on to play next to Sesko up front and we put in those crosses for both of them, no problem. You've missed my comment. No, I didn't miss your comment. I talked about the transfer window one. I talked about it. I talked about the transfer window one. Yeah, I already answered that one. I said no because I don't want to acknowledge the transfer window closing because I think like it's something stupid that they've done anyway. I think Rafa Leao is a high-level left winger. Yeah, I would have Rodrygo first, Nico Williams second, Lookman third, Leao fourth. So I did say any of them I'm happy with. If you get me any of these wingers, it's a freshener because it's exciting. When you get a new wing or a new striker, it's very exciting. So let's see how it goes. So I've already put out a video for talking more about Zubimendi. Let's hope we get more news today, or let's see when the next time is you're going to get news. But let's hope. There was no news on Sane today. There was no news on Gyokeres today, so those ones have gone a bit quiet, but let's see how it goes. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.